Hello and welcome to the ATKT.in podcast. It's me, Krupa.
And the best from Andheri West, P-Man.
And we're talking to the freshest talent in India. Today we have Roshni Raheja from SSLA, that's Symbiosis School of Liberal Arts.
From Pune.
From Pune,
We
yes.
have another outstation student.
Hi.
Amazing, man. Hi.
What we're going to do is watch Roshni perform her poetry.
So this is called Dirt. I read a book where a girl claimed that if she lay down quietly and put her ear to the ground, she'd hear the earth's heartbeat resounding in her body, in perfect synchronicity with her own. Maybe my ribs are wound too tightly around me for the echoes of the earth to reverberate through, but I have always felt most like myself when I am closest to the dirt, the layer of stardust and microorganisms that life grows in, somehow. When the best friends you have are a magnolia tree, its crowded, bulging roots and the handfuls of soil it can survive without scraped from around its base, you learn to love the crumbling ruins as if they were part of your own. And the earth has been by me no matter what the season or where the place. The drawling red clay has shaped my hands just as much as the soft black loam has watered my soul. When the world becomes too much to juggle from one hemisphere to the other, I inevitably find myself reaching for the safety of the earth. Its airy weight under my fingernails and yielding permanence under the soles of my feet have never failed to put my troubles at bay, reminding me of where I began and how far I've come. Perhaps this is why I've never taken the word dirt as an insult. Maybe that's why dirty work or getting my hands dirty have always been more enticing than repulsive, and maybe that's why I sometimes let people walk all over me. And on days when I am too tired to be solid, I find myself getting carried away, bits of myself caught in the treads of their shoes or the spaces between their toes, forgotten in the tracks they leave in their wake. When they depart, yet another. I have never been the kind to sweep someone off their feet. Instead, I am reliable, the solid ground that holds them up, and I know, trust me, just how thankless it can be. But as long as I cradle the seedlings of greatness in the hollows of my palms, plant them in the dips of my spine, and water them until flowers bloom through the spaces between my ribs, it'll be worth it.
Tell us more about Dirt. How long back did you write this?
This is I think 2 years ago.
All right.
It was an airplane poetry movement prompt, actually. And everybody took it to mean things like dirtiness and like a whole different meaning was construed from it altogether. And I was like, hey, it's just mud, guys. Just mud.
And just for people who don't know, can you tell a little bit more about airplane poetry movement and why is it important?
Okay, so I actually worked there, so I have a little bit of a biased opinion here. I'm going to be aggressively promoting them. But it was started by Shantanu and Nandini. They're both law students, graduates, and what they do is they promote poetry and all sorts of different spaces among the youth. And it's pretty amazing. They have workshops and courses, and they have a lot of online engagement.
Have you made money off your poetry?
I have not.
But is there a scope for it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There definitely is. So, for me, poetry is, it's a huge part of my life and everything, but it's not my primary life path. So, I've made money working for airplane poetry movement and, other parts of what they do.
Like?
So I did digital marketing for them and stuff.
Okay. The non-poetry stuff.
But all of it was based on poetry because I was curating content and then using that I was making designs and marketing plans and stuff like that. So that was really cool. That was a lot of fun.
So tell me about the poetry scene in your college. Are you a member of the Poetry Society?
So my college, it's a liberal arts college, which means that they highly encourage stuff outside of coursework. And a big part of that is through clubs. And there's been a poetry club in my college for the last 6 years or so. It was started by one of the first students of our college, actually, who is massively into poetry and stuff. And when I joined, she was my senior, and I thought she was really, really cool. And I already did like poetry, but thanks to her, I got super into it. I started writing and performing and competing in slams and stuff. And at present, I had the club. It's pretty cool.
Intense.
You know, the coolest part, not the coolest, one of the coolest parts of this club is that it's called It Could Be Verse. VERSE. And I think it's my favorite,
Swag.
Right?
Brup.
Most clubs that have regular like events, or they take part in a lot of competitions and stuff, like they have a lot more like rigid rules on membership and stuff like that, where if you don't show up for meetings, you're kicked out. But like the point of this club isn't to perform only, it's also just appreciate poems.
All right.
So anyone who wants to come can just come, like come once and then leave, that's fine. I'm not going to like hold you to it. Yeah.
What goes through your minds when you hear someone again writing a poem about wo chhod ke chali gayi? Like, what do you all think? Like, what is wrong with you all?
Some of it, by a long stretch, has some poetic value. I mean, I'm sure something went through their heads, like they had some emotions that they thought they could put on paper with this. But some of them I really do not understand. But like, it's cool. Like, the whole point of poetry is expression.
Have you written songs about people you like?
With the current band I'm with, vice versa, a lot of the songs, like when I started the band vice versa, it was when I was in that phase of trying to put out this one girl. So most of the songs, at least that time, was towards her. And that girl became girlfriend. It was songs about how awesome she is. Now the girl is the wife. And it's still, most of my songs are about that one woman who's the number one woman in my life.
That's so cute.
Who are some of your favorite poets in the poetry scene right now?
I love the people that like Button Poetry chooses to pick up and like feature and stuff. They have some pretty amazing work.
Okay.
Phil K and Sarah K are fantastic. They have their own thing with like Project Voice and stuff like that.
Let's talk about the slam poetry culture, no?
Okay, so I feel like it picked up in India quite recently, over the last, I would say, 3 to 4 years, where I think the biggest platform that this happened was the National Youth Poetry Slam that happened in 2016, where we had like, the whole point was that it was a national level slam, and college students from all over the country auditioned and then came to represent their colleges at this large event. And because of that, and the scale that it reached, this like it then like percolated down to like smaller slam events and open mics and things that became a lot more regular. So in Pune, at least at this point, every weekend there's an open mic somewhere or the other.
Okay.
And it's not just poetry, it's also like comedy and music, but poetry has increasingly become a large part of it.
Okay.
So like ATKT has an event every month.
That we
In
do.
Pune, yeah.
Tell us about the NYPS like the slam event that happened. The best poets from all over the country are coming, and like.
Is this a nationally, like
So
the
it
government
happened-
of
no,
India
it's not
recognizes it?
national.
No, okay.
It only happened once because it's like a logistical feat to accomplish, right? Like auditioning from the whole country and then having college represent and then accommodation and the whole competition as a whole. It was like a lot of work went into it.
Okay.
And I thought it was pretty cool because I think it put people from all over the country in the same room. And since like Kripa said it, like with good poets like of a similar standard and quality in the same room from all sorts of places like different colleges, that was, I would use the word wholesome for this event. I would totally use it. Like if you fumbled on stage or something, the audience would be rooting for you.
Okay.
Not like while it was a competition, at no point did it feel like you were competing.
I want to ask you, you've taken liberal arts.
Mm-hmm.
What is your liberal arts curriculum like?
The whole idea is that there's a core curriculum which everyone has to do, and then beyond that, you get to do whatever you want. Like you pick a major and a minor, and you can do literally whatever you want. So I'm doing a major in psychology, and I have a double minor in anthropology and media studies.
How did you know about this liberal arts thing? Did you do any research, or just someone told you, hey, you know what, you should try this out?
It's actually funny because I hadn't done a lot of research, but after 12th, I was like struggling between what to do with my life because I was this like science kid who did really, really well in science.
Oh, okay, really well.
But I didn't want to do science. Or I did want some science, but also like I like poetry and I like other stuff too. So I was like trying to find a place I could do both because I couldn't choose at that point. I had no idea what to do with my life. And then this neighbor of mine was like, hey, Symbi, it's like right here in your own city. And they have this thing where you can do bio and English and math. You should check it out. And I'd never heard of it before because it was relatively new at that time. Like I think maybe one batch had graduated.
Mm-hmm.
So I called them up and we went and spoke to the faculty there, and it's amazing.
Wow.
So, let me get this straight. So, if you want to do science, but you also want to do like literature. You can just go in and like choose these subjects, and
Yeah, absolutely.
that sounds like a dream, honestly.
It is.
It is,
It's
yeah.
great. For many of us, it was more of like I don't know what I want to do just yet.
Mhm.
And here is a safe place where I can like experiment and then choose a specialization. Because it's a 4-year degree and you only pick your like specialization.
4-year degree.
It's a 4-year degree.
Okay.
But it's also like that many more credits as compared to a 3-year degree. So you are getting a lot more out of it.
Okay.
And you don't have to pick your specialization until your second year. So you have 1 year to do all sorts of crazy things. So we did like math, environmental studies, English, philosophy, all at the same time. Along with these, you have to do a research project, like a full thesis level research project,
Okay.
which is not something that most undergrad colleges have. That's more of a postgrad
It
concept.
is, yeah.
So the fact that they make us do it and like from scratch completely. And you're trained in like research methodology and stuff at a very like earlier stage in your career than you would be if you did a conventional degree. So like simple things like that. And I think even in our general like normal courses, there'll be classes where it's taught by students in like a seminar style where you read and you come and you teach. That's the class.
Wow.
And you're evaluated on how well you taught what you understood.
Wow.
What I love about my college is that our faculty genuinely care about us as people and not just as students. And that's why we can have clubs. That's why we can have faculty come and read poems with us every week. That's why we can have this like constant engagement of people doing what they really, really want to do alongside everything else that they're already doing. The more people who want you to succeed, the better.
Be right back with Roshni doing a special poem with dropping hints on Trump for us.
You will require 1. A call to action, an idea you think the world absolutely needs to hear. 2. Feelings. Let your emotion flow and capture it in a vial. Keep this essence of passion in an easily accessible place for future use. 3. Words. Collect wonderful words, words you can play with, words you can play on, words you enjoy. Use your resources to your advantage. Before you begin, clear your space of all negative influences, whether it's an annoyingly loud child, a disapproving adult, or even a peer who insists that poetry is useless. Dismiss them. Or better yet, put up a wall, since that's apparently an acceptable way for us to deal with our problems now. Firstly, do not grease the pen, just like you would not grease the palms of those who shut you down. You are not writing to be palatable, you are writing to be heard. Your poetry should be strong, not smooth, and need not follow rules. Feel free to use plastic on the stove or metal in the microwave. The resulting sparks of creativity you should definitely save. Mix together your stories and incidents that matter, whether it's the first time you scraped your knee or the not-so-silent rage of students in 2016. When you have the privilege of raising your voice, you absolutely must take that choice. Store in a healthy amount of vivid comparisons. No matter how many times you hear the words, "Yes, poets, we get it. Things are like other things." Do not let it stop you from creating fantastic metaphors, the flavoring which every poetic dish needs. Especially when you have ingredients that are too controversial, too bitter, or sour on their own. It is metaphors alone that will camouflage them as zesty, tangy, and worth a sampling. Which then brings me to... For an extremely engaging taste, do not forget in your haste to add in plenty of sensations and imagery, the hue of the flowers that grow underneath your bedroom window, the glint in your best friend's eye, the waft of your professor's sigh, the sound of heeled shoes on a wooden floor, tales of wild animals and old folklore, the smooth dismissal of problems by people who simply do not care, the smell of revolution as it leaks like gas and saturates the air. This would be an appropriate time now to add in the essence of passion. And no, I do not mean like 2 drops of vanilla, but I mean you should pour and keep pouring until every vegetable, every word is soaked in your ecstasy, drips with your anguish, glistens with your anger, and sizzles with the smoke of the words you have waited so long to say. The people who insisted you go back into the kitchen should be left in shock when you emerge and serve them what you've written, but before that, garnish with a salty sprinkling of satire, and yes, that is a reference to the meme. Because let me tell you something about awareness today. It's not found only in black and white newsprint, but spans an entire spectrum of subtle humor.
when the papers focus on all the wrong things, and students around the world hesitate before speaking up, in fear of the looming upper hands that threaten to silence them every time they try to rise and protest. The internet will be our serving tray horse, satire, our solid shining cutlery armor, and powerfully penned poetry, our food for thought, our chosen weapon of change. Lastly, once you have realized the sheer potential of your words, the raw power in your voice, and the hold you have over people who want to and need to listen to what you have to say, serve it to them straight off the stove. Hot, strong, and mind-blowing.